Hey everyone, and welcome to another RealNext webinar series. Today is optimized prospecting. We're going to be focusing on the 5%, and I'm super excited because this couldn't have come at a better time. I was with a good friend and client of ours this morning going over some of this, and he said, look, Matt, my database has a lot of information in that I really don't need, and I need to get it narrowed down to about 12 to 1500 that I really want to focus in on. And it's not always about the quantity, but we really want to talk about the quality and make sure we're focusing on the top 5%, utilizing different things within inside of the program. And I showed him how we can manage data just so much more efficiently using different things within inside of the RealNext system that I think the doors were just absolutely blown off. He's able to figure out what he can focus on, and then the things that take him away from focusing on those 5%, then he can assign to different folks on this team, or have an admin do some of that work and so forth, so he can continue to build the relationships, make the handshakes, phone calls, and follow-ups as he needs to in order to be productive as possible. We're going to be talking on a few points here. I am running solo, so Jeff is traveling right now, so I'm going to be talking to you a little bit more about the ABC ways to engage on a monthly, quarter, and annual process. Whether you use ABC 1, 2, 3, or any other kind of ranking system for your clients, your prospects, properties, tenants, or anything else within the program, just make sure that you write it down. I can't stress this enough. Create an SOP, right? And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to create a systematic process of utilizing the program to treat your business just like that, a business. And so I like to rank people with an A, B, and a C. If you like 1, 2, 3, or whatever you want to do, then that's what you want. But make sure you write it down so you do it the same time every time. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the timelines. That way you can make sure you're following up with people. Maybe you've done a 5-year lease, a 10-year lease, a 15-year lease, and there's an option or two within that lease. We'll show you how to automate that follow-up process. So it reminds you what to do, when to do it, and it only shows when it's due, or a couple days prior, depending on how your settings are. We'll talk a little bit about detailed ownership and acquisition profiles. Just think of it like this. So we're going to be a way to match buyers and sellers and tenants in space. We'll talk a little bit more about predictive analytics, hold periods, loan maturities, and then other points. Maybe you're starting to see a trend in the market that a certain unit mix is selling more than another one, or maybe there's a certain class of property, whether it's industrial, retail, or you're seeing certain land attributes or in areas that are happening. You want to be able to find that property record information so you can make those phone calls as quick as possible. We'll talk a little bit about tracking lease renewals, options, and then market events. Remember, market events can tie into using the data points for more predictive analytics. Talk a little bit more about the one-click. The RealNext one-click is probably the best thing that we put in the program in quite some time. We'll also talk about how timelines just got smarter, and we want to make sure that we're always adding value to our clients. So one of the things that I have done is I put little cliff notes with inside of my timelines that remind me of certain things to engage the clients on when I'm calling, because sometimes I'm just knocking out phone calls and I'm really not thinking about everything and focus. And so if you have everything set up, you'll be able to focus a little bit better in the program. This slide deck will be available for you if you want. That way you can remember what we have gone on. It's also going to be recorded. Now, I am flying solo today, so bear with me when it comes to responding to questions. I am pretty good at getting through what I need to, but I'm not perfect. So as everybody knows, you can access our program through the web. You can also access our program through the mobile app. I can't stress this enough. Each and every one on this call has either an Android or an iPhone, iPad, or an Android tablet. Please download the mobile app. It is phenomenal. You can do a lot of things within the mobile app. The mobile app is going to allow you to call from it, text from it. You can schedule events. You can add inventory in the field. You can do so many great things with the mobile app. But the first thing to do is download it and make sure it's on your system. Also, if you do not have your reminder notifications set up, you can set them up. This is my demo database, so I'm going to ask it to remind me later. So let's talk a little bit more about ranking your prospects in an ABC and how do we engage those. So within our program, we have a couple ways to slice and dice the information. One is you can create a nice little list view, just like I've done here. These list views can be customized by coming over to the view section, clicking edit, and then you have the ability to add any field information or detail information that you want to create your own layout. This one here is when I'm prospecting for tenants in the market that I currently don't represent and don't have a solid relationship with, but I'd like to get to know them. You can create one for multifamily, hospitality, agricultural land, or anything else. And then here I have one is a last touch view. One of the things you'll notice inside of mine is I do have the date verified. I like date verified. I use it as a touch button. So imagine you have 1,200 contacts that are in your core group, and you're going down through and you're rating them just like this, client A, B, and C, just like in my client rating here. Now I have other things like target cap rate, if they have a pet, husband and wife, what's their favorite drink, last date purchase or property they purchased, minimum, maximum price. And you guys can create the same ones that I have here. But you'll notice that I can sort and then I can filter by who haven't I talked to in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months by simply loading one of my filters, just like this one here. And then this filter can tie into a view. So then I can make sure that I'm calling all my A clients every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days for B, C's, or whatever your rating system would be. And I don't have to have a ton of follow-ups. I typically have follow-ups for next steps. I call Ray. Ray says call him back in 3 weeks. I'm going to have a follow-up for that, and I can easily just come over here and say add event, and I have the ability to type in just simple follow-up. Ray's fantastic. He's helping us out with a bunch of different things. I'm using voice dictation. I have a bit of a twang, so it might not type perfectly, but you all get the point. And then I can schedule an event for a future date. That is typically, as I run through it, I create a history that I called, I schedule a follow-up if I have a next step. If there is no next step, then I just hit the verify now button. You can do it on the main screen. So if you're like me and you like the split screen, you can do it one of two ways. You can just hit verify right here. And as you go down here on the left-hand side, you do have the ability to update their investor criteria. And then again, you hit verify. And as you're going through, it's an easy way to knock everything out. When you redo your last touch, those will come off. So instead of having 8 records to call today, you're gonna knock them all out and they're gonna be off. So if you have 1,200 clients to get through, you don't necessarily want 1,200 follow-ups. And using the date verified is a great way to eliminate that, so you don't have to do it. So how do we go ahead and we create some of these custom areas that are in there? We're going to go ahead and do that using our layouts. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over how to customize the layouts. There is our video series. You can also click guide me in the upper right-hand corner. But if you come over to the section over here that says layouts, you can click manage. I always recommend when you're doing a layout to look at the investor existing layout, tenant existing layout. If it says existing, means we put it in there for you. And what I want you to do is click on the copy or duplicate layout. Do not change our layout yet. You want to duplicate it first and then print it out, and then you can change it. If you're a generalist broker, you're going to want to work on this for the investor, tenant, agent, vendor, and so forth. So you can see how mine is laid out like this, and then I create that list view that is similar. Now, if we wanted to filter out any of this information, you can simply just right click and you can filter out the information, and it's really easy. Now, sometimes we want to go create a series of events, and a series of events is what we call a timeline. And why would we use a timeline, or where would we use a timeline? Well, depends. Maybe we're trying to get a C client to a B, or a B client to an A, or maybe we want to follow up on after sale transaction or post lease transaction. You can use a timeline for pretty much anything. To create a timeline, you just go to Tools, Timelines, and Manage Templates. There's a guide me in there, a video that will walk you through how to do it. But maybe you got a new lead and the lead's been qualified and you have a certain series of events that you go through each time. You simply right click and say schedule timeline. You choose a timeline of events. Now, again, this can be customized for you. I have a lease renewal here I haven't started. This lease renewal I have built out. This will notify me every year to make the phone call. It'll also remind me in 3 years to have a renewal option meeting. Real easy to do. Creates a beautiful, beautiful Gantt chart. The Gantt chart can be printed out. So if you want to send it to your client, here's what I do post-transaction. Here's what I do pre-transaction. You can also assign different people on your timeline. One of the things we recently have done to the timelines is we've changed it. So if you go ahead and update one of the events within the timeline, it'll actually ask you if you want to push all those events out in the future. And the idea is that we have a systematic approach of prospecting. So instead of coming in here every day and looking at 50,000 contacts and wondering who do we need to call, our dashboard is filled with all the calls we need to make. And then we can see our clients and our client ratings throughout here. Now, remember what we want to do is we want to filter these views for our offerings, right? And follow up, whether that's property information or space information, we're going with tenants. We want to be able to filter that information out and we want to target it. My client this morning was multifamily, so we removed office and retail and land and hospitality and everything out of his view. The more information you have, the better you are going to be able to serve your clients. Now, remember, your dashboard is going to show you everything you need to do. You'll see a little reoccurring, a little half circle, 3/4 circle if it's a reoccurring event. I'm not a big reoccurring event person. However, timelines I do love, and you can see here as part of a timeline. If you want to see where it's at in the timeline or you need to change the timeline, you can drag and drop to change the timeline during your timeline. And again, like I said before, is if you need to adjust your timeline where maybe the marketing plan we're not going to do this week, we're going to push it off to next week. As I adjust this, it's going to say, do you want to move the timeline out? And I'm going to say yes, and now to adjust my timeline out, it gives me an updated Gantt chart, and I can say save here. I can also adjust those individually within inside of that Gantt chart view. Detailed ownership. Everybody asks me, how do I get detailed ownership? One is you can get it from us through RX Data. We can provide title level assessor data information for you, tied in the LLC, and some CMBS loan information where available to you. You can also use many of our tools. Through RX Data, there's a tool for lease and sales comps to import, and you can import any data through a CSV file, Excel file, right in through properties, spaces, and it's fully relational to bring that information in for you. And again, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're optimizing your prospecting. So there might be 2 attributes on a property that you need to see in order to target that property. It might be 20. Maybe it's the mix of 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 3 bathrooms. Maybe it's a transaction price, note expiration. Make sure you create your views to match that information. Same thing on a property record. Remember when you're in here on that property record to, and here's an example record that came in through the RX Data side. Remember, if you're not keeping track of this information, you can go ahead and you can manage that layout again. Here's one I have for multifamily. It'll populate the information, color code it around, so we can make sure that we're targeting the area. I like to target the area in a couple ways. Maybe it's going after a certain building class, building type, but I also like to target block by block, area by area. And you can do that really simplistically using our radius search or zip code search and a polygon search. And then you can save these for a future prospect by selecting the yellow arrow over here in my zip code and saying, hey, save, and do it this way. Please don't create groups for all this. The reason I say don't create groups for a lot of this stuff is because groups are something you forget to put in and out. Prime example, client this morning had 1,700 people that he needed to follow up with in his core client base, right? And that's manageable for him. In his group, though, he only had 1,500. So that means he would have lost over 220, 250 opportunities because he was using groups. And I showed him how to use filters, add it to his favorite list. And he's like, okay, now I have this down. I can come in here. I can go click a view, or I can click a filter tied to a view. And now I have my prospecting area, and I can bang, bang phone calls out all day. Right, so we want to be able to make sure that we filter and we create those views so we can make sure that we're targeting the specific market and we're going through that market. Same thing, I like to use a date verified. So I verify when I call the owner, or when I walk the industrial park, or when I walk the building, that I updated the information, whether it's the rent roll information or other detailed information. I do that. Now, I mentioned that I will talk to you a little bit more about OneClick and what is OneClick and what is that all about. Sounds pretty cool. Well, OneClick is awesome. And what's great about OneClick is it's just that. So you're on a property record. We're getting ready to call the owner of the building, and we get a phone call. And the phone call says, hey, I'm interested in leasing the space, or I need representation, or whatever that would be. You can come over to this area over here, and let me see if I can highlight it. This right over here. And you'll see this on every record within our program, including the dashboard. And you can click here, and now you can do what you need. So you don't have to go click contact spaces, tabs, or anything else. You come right over here in one click. Maybe we want to add a new property, or I want to add a new tenant. I'm calling through here. We find out there's a new tenant. I do the one click, and what it's going to do is it's going to pull up the spaces area for me, and then we can pull up that space area for me within inside of there. Let me try to go off of some of these here. But the one click will produce that, so then it will pop up for you. And then again, it makes it easier. So it popped up the property. We can add in the floor, the suite, square footage, and then we can easily just even tie in the tenant if we wanted to bring in the tenant here, if it's within inside of our program, or we can create it here, right? And so the idea is to be able to do what you need to do from any screen. That is adding a new contact, maybe it's adding a new company, but you can add a contact from the property screen, you can add a space from the property screen, you can enact a timeline from the property screen, or anywhere else with the new RealNext OneClick. It is absolute game changing. Same thing is creating that OneClick for there. So as questions come in, I'm going to answer them for you. Again, you can have as many layouts for you. So if you have a team of 10 and you want to see different information, you can create different information. Each person can have their own layout and look and feel that they want. The filters can be tied in, so you have a view that's tied into a filter. This one here is just a view, and you can see in here it's got that filter, so you know that this base view is going to be tied into a view and a filter. So you can tie them both so it does two things at once, and it makes things a lot easier for you. Same thing when it comes to tracking lease expirations and stuff like that. So when a lease is signed, remember, utilizing the timeline is a great way to do that. You can also not only do that, but you can create a view here. So if I wanted to pull up like lease expiration lookup, or available spaces, or a square foot, maybe it's lease expiration in 90 days or whatever that period would be. Just a couple clicks or one click can get you there. You can see them where they're on a map. You can see them in a tile view. You can pull up the linked companies, and then you can send them an email and let them know that they have a lease coming due in 6 months, 9 months, 9 days, or whatever that would be, and you'd like to go over their options for their lease renewal. Again, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're targeting clients, we're adding value, and we're getting way ahead of the curve. We don't want to be 18 days before they're ready to make a decision. We want to be there 18 to 24 months ahead of the decision. And so allowing you to get in there and understand what details are important to you, and customizing that and creating that bespoke environment is really important. So we have a lot of timely updates that come through. A lot of things are happening right now in the market. Market is buzzing. Your clients have said they're holding off until the election to make a decision. You can look through a history note to find that, right? So let's do this. Let's find someone that's timely. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say filter, and I'm going to show filter, and I'm going to say notes, then I'm going to say contains, and we're going to say election. Now, I don't have any notes that say election in here because I'm just going to use it as an example, but you can hit search. It's not going to show any for mine. But being a relational database is really cool because you can imagine if I have had that in there where people said they're going to hold off on the election. Didn't matter who won or lost. It just mattered that, hey, I wanted to make a decision until election was off. You can actually come in here and I'll show you an example where you can simply click link contacts, companies, properties, whatever that would be, and whatever you have your histories. Those are the phone calls you're making on those properties. And then you can pull up those contacts and say, hey, they're waiting to make a decision. And then here are the 3 contacts right now that were waiting to make a decision. And now I can easily send them an email and say, hey, you were looking to make a decision before you made an offer on this property. It can merge the information in there. It's great. Prospective client yesterday, I talked to him and he said, look, Matt, your call is super timely, right? Because timing's a lot of the market. I had a client that said they're waiting until after the election to make a decision. And they not only are going to make an offer on 1 property, but they're going to make an offer on 2 properties. Wish me luck. I was able to follow up because I had the proper system. I knew when to follow up and things that were going on. And part of that also was a little bit of luck. But if I was spending my time spinning my wheels trying to follow up with my C clients when really I need to focus on my A clients, I would have never got to him and I would never have the opportunity to get his company to utilize my system. And then my follow-up was stellar that he's like, what are you using? Right here. Remember, we also have a new dark mode for you folks that like A, dark mode, or B, you have a little bit of strain on your eyes. You can come over here and click dialogue styles and you can change it into dark mode. I think I played dark mode out a while back, so I'm not a dark mode person, but I can see how it does make it easier on your eyes. You can also change some other things within there. And remember to have some purpose added. One of the things that you might notice with inside of my client profiles, I have current situation. Antonio inherited 3 properties, has a sister, okay? So has a sister, not is a sister or whatever I said in there. Has a sister and a brother. They're not sure what they want to do with it. They'll find out. So basically what I was saying there is the current situation is they inherited 3 properties. So we know they have at least 3 properties, but they're not sure what they want to do with it. So that kind of gave me a snapshot in time. So then when I go ahead and I make that call, I'm going to go ahead and click the dial. And then I'm going to say, hey, last time we talked, you were thinking with your brother and sister, have you figured everything out? And then what I'll do is I'll remove this current situation, I'll update it with another one, and I'll throw it into a history. Now remember, this works with tenant side, this works with vendors that you work with and so forth. Update the information in here, and it's going to be a lot more relevant when you're doing things. So to review a couple things that we went over today, we went over ranking your prospects, active clients, A, B, and C. Super important, super important. A, B, and C, 1, 2, 3, gold, yellow, blue, whatever it is, to rank those. The next one is timelines. Don't forget to use them, they're powerful. But if you get overwhelmed with follow-ups, utilize the verify now and the view that I went over. Use the filters and the save views. Anytime you create a filter, which you can see here I have a filter applied, you can tie that into a view. When you go ahead and you edit the view, up top it'll say, do you want the filter applied? Create your custom layouts. If you're a generalist, don't have one layout, have a bunch of different layouts. So when you change from multifamily to hospitality to land, you can load those different views and those different templates, and then you have different data points you can pull from. Look at things to get more predictive, like what are typical hold periods for this LLC? What are typical loan maturities, and what are people doing with those loans? Maybe you want to start tracking leases 18 to 24 months before they renew, not to say, hey, are you looking to renew, but to say hi. And then that gives you some more information to figure out what things are happening in the market. And make sure you're always adding value. You're always adding value. You're not just saying, do you want to sell? Do you want to lease? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And then remember, the rest of our program does integrate for our tour books and deal management, create surveys, lease comparative analysis, presentation and property analysis, virtual deal room, CRM, listing management websites. We're doing more with aerial tours, virtual reality, augmented reality, all kinds of great things. Make sure you come to other webinar sessions and we'll be able to walk you through some amazing things. Also, hats off to Brandon on our team here. He's been doing a great job with the Guide Me's. You'll see a lot of the Guide Me's updated. And if you see a chat box here, it will go ahead and it will pop up a section, right? Just a pop up there, and it will walk you through live on Guide. If you go ahead and you see the little video, it'll bring you to a video. And again, RingCentral integration, what's new? Or API integration, how do I set my API up? What is an API? All these things are getting answered for you within this library. You also see definitions in here, training videos, and then you'll see onboarding as we go ahead and we continue to build out our onboarding for you. And then last, you can always click on the knowledge base to look for more information if you want to see more information about different things in the program. The knowledge base is all there for you. As always, I can't thank you enough. I know I'm limited to about 20-25 minutes with this. Hopefully I didn't go too fast for everybody. Jeff is a great moderator and partner to be on these calls with because he really helps me slow down because I get excited. I get excited because I know what this program can do. I've seen it launch people's careers, and it's been amazing. With the questions that have come in, I try to answer them. Don't forget to take a look at your notifications. I put out an e-publication earlier with this beautiful marketing package and financial analysis with a nice little refinance in there, and I can see the client already clicked on it. So a lot of cool things within our program. If you need any assistance, any help, Kevin, Jen, and myself are around here for you. We have our support team that is standing by to answer any support questions. And if you have some new interesting ideas, put in a feature request and let us know what's happening. We try to have our thumb on the pulse, and we do that because we have core groups of clients like you all that give us ideas to make the program better, and we can't thank you enough. If anybody has any tips, tricks, questions, or anything else they need or want to go over, forever do so, say so now, or forever hold your peace. If you thought this was a good web presentation, let me know. I don't always get feedback, and I'm always curious. Am I doing a good job? What can I do better? How can I improve? I do these not to hear myself on YouTube later on next week. I do these to make sure that each and every one of you understand how to utilize the program, how to make it simple, and how you all can put shoes on your kids' feet or food on the table much easier than you did before you came to this session. So if we're doing a good job, let us know. And if there's things you feel we can improve upon, let us know as well. The truth hurts, but we need to hear it. And so we appreciate everybody. Looks like I have 100% of audience attendance right now. So it seems like I'm doing a good job on this. Again, if you need anything else, let us know. Don't forget to rank those prospects, detailed ownership, predictive analytics, track your leases, auctions, and market events. And then make sure you're giving timely updates and news to your clients. And always, always add value. Hope everybody has a great week. Hope everybody had an awesome Halloween. And we're looking forward to more presentation. We'll see you coming up soon. We'll also have our fast track webinar on getting started with the CRM. The main man, Brandon, will be on there doing that. So don't forget to take a look at that. And we'll continue to release more updates to make things easier, including more things like one-click. And thank you all. Talk to you soon.